You're watching the Dakota Drive on KFYR Plus with sports director Luke Gamble. Sponsored by Trusted Tire and Auto.
Welcome into the Dakota Drive, December. Man, hard to believe that we are in December, right? Gosh, I woke up this morning and was like, this is kind of insane to think about. We're planning Christmas gifts and Christmas, all kinds of holiday things going on, and it's hard to believe that we are finally or already, I shouldn't say finally, we're already to that season. But in the sports world, that means the turn of the calendar. We're putting the fall season behind us officially and ramping up the winter sports season. That means lots of hockey that's gotten underway already. Basketball going to get underway this week, kind of halfway, and then next week it'll get underway the rest of the way with AA teams. College basketball already in full swing, obviously, which has been off to a fun start. But we've got a fun show planned for today. Hoping to have a couple of guests on. At least one of them is on the road, so we're going to see what his timeline looks like. But that's going to be Bridger Anderson, originally from Carrington, North Dakota. Bridger is on his way to the NFR for the third time in the last 6 years for steer wrestling, and he's literally on his way. He is on the way to Vegas right now. He was messaging me back and forth earlier about where he could hopefully pull over to do an interview. So third time in 6 years in the NFR, that's pretty impressive. It's been 2 years since he made it, so he's back there, and we're going to try to get him set up here in just a second. Let me see here. We're going to try to get him set up here on the Zoom call, but the NFR, always a big deal, obviously, and for people in our area who may not know about it, it's the Super Bowl of rodeo, and so it's a big deal to make it there. And with that, we're going to bring in the man himself. First off, where are you at? I mean, you're obviously in your vehicle, but where exactly are we on the road to Vegas?
Well, we're not very far away. We're pulled over at a truck stop in Kingman, Arizona, and it's a good thing, because if I drove any further, I don't think I'll have service till we pull into Vegas. So we're in a good spot right there.
Cool. Well, first off, man, I mean, just how excited are you about this week? I mean, I know that you're no stranger to the NFR, but I know it's not easy to get there either, right? So there's got to be some kind of celebration just for making it there in some aspect, I would guess.
Absolutely. It's a hard battle every time you do end up making it, and there's a lot of people that try, and a lot of them are your best friends, and you're just real glad that we're on the side of things that get to go and have a lot of fun in Vegas, and cherish the moment and hope it's a good week.
Yeah. Well, this is your third time in the last 6 years being there. So you've been there plenty. What is that feeling? I mean, you get to the end of the road and things are so close in the standings and that kind of thing. Once you get to your last rodeo and realize, like, hey, we're in the big dance. What can you just describe what that feeling is like every year, being on both sides of it, whether you make it or not?
Yeah, there's a lot of anticipation that goes into that last weekend, and there for a while it feels like it'll never come, and then once it happens, it's like, oh man, that came out of nowhere. But it's definitely relieving when you're on the good side of it. I've in the last 6 years I've been really close to making it, and really close to not making it, and we call that bubble rodeo. And if you're right there where you might make it, you might not, those 10 guys or however many are on the bubble. And I've been bubble rodeoing the last few times I have made it, and it can be a very tense month and a half there at the end, but when it all comes to fruition, it feels really good.
Yeah. Well, you go in, you're 12th in the standings going in, 15 guys make it. So how do you feel about where you're at right now? Just kind of what you've been able to put on the table going into this last part of the season.
It feels good. We've been bulldogging good. Horse has been working good. Going in 12th in some events, it matters a little more, but in the steer wrestling, first place to 15th place is pretty close in as far as money won. So, and when you're running at $36,000 a round and a $94,000 rodeo at the end of the 10 days. If you win the average, you win 94,000. So you can make up a lot of ground really fast. And the most important thing is just no matter where you come in, go out and have a really good week and throw all your steers down and try to win some cash.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about that, obviously how much money goes into each ride. I mean, how much more important is that for you to kind of reset after each ride and realize like, hey, you've still got a chance to put things together, even if you have a bad go.
Yeah, absolutely. It can be a long week if things aren't going your way, and then once if you do get on a roll, you just try to keep rolling with it. It's pretty big in rodeo having a short memory, and not letting the bad runs get you down, and just staying positive, staying confident for the next one. Because it doesn't matter what you did yesterday; all that matters is what you're about to do.
Absolutely. Well, looking at the season as a whole, I mean, it's been a pretty successful season for you from your career outlook. I mean, I know the money totals change, but essentially your most successful season that you've had. So, has there been anything different? What's been different about this season that's allowed you to be so successful?
I don't think there's anything just real different. We just kind of matured in our career in bulldogging to where we're taking a much more patient approach to our steer wrestling. And when we do that, as long as we have a chance to win something on the cattle we draw, usually it ends up going pretty good. So we've just been focused on staying patient and staying true to the course. Where the last 3 times I've made the NFR, there's been 6 weeks in a row where I didn't win a check, and mentally that can bring you down. But now that I've seen it and been through it, it doesn't bother me too much to where we can just keep pushing and be ready to capitalize when we get the opportunity.
Now that you've experienced this, multiple times, what is your preparation like going into the NFR? I mean, are things different preparing for Vegas just because it's such a bigger stage and there's so many extra things that you have to worry about, or is that maybe a little overblown? Is it more so just more of the same for you?
Well, you try to keep it just like it's another rodeo, but the one thing that's entirely different about Vegas is the start we take when we're leaving the box. So Vegas is 10 times faster than any rodeo we'll ever get to go to, where when you nod in Vegas, you should be moving before you nod. And every other rodeo, usually you're letting the steer out a little bit, but you're going before the gates before you nod, trying to get the start. So it takes a lot of repetition once we get back from the summer run to go ahead and drill that back into us, because it's for the rest of the year we don't do that. But that's about the only thing that's different. We'll get to run awesome cattle out there. We got pretty good herds going, and you just kind of try to stick to the basics. But getting the fast start, that's real important in our preparation.
Absolutely. Well, you mentioned who you're going with. I wanted to ask you about your horse because I was reading a little bit about it. I mean, so you've been riding the same horse since you've been in high school. Is that right?
Yep. So I bought him from Diamond S Performance Horses, Tyler and Jackie Shaw. Whiskers is his name. I bought him my senior year of high school, and yeah, we took him to college. Went to the college finals, high school finals, and now the NFR. So pretty fortunate to have him in the trailer. He's like family. He's a good horse, and the only thing he does really enjoy is bulldog, and he's kind of crabby sometimes, but he's an awesome horse, and I'm very fortunate that I got to buy him.
So you guys have been together for essentially close to 10 years, right? 9, 10 years, something like that. So, I mean,
Yeah.
are there a lot of guys that, for somebody who's not super familiar with it, I mean, are there a lot of guys that go that same route, or do more guys more frequently change horses?
It depends on the horse. Some horses are at the top of their career for a few years, and then some are at the top for a few longer, and all kind of depends. I hope I get a few more years out of Whiskers, and he's pretty good about taking care of himself. So I don't know. It all depends. Some people don't even own a horse, and they just ride somebody else's, and they get on the best one they can find. Um, Fortunately, I own Whiskers, and I feel like I can win on him every time I nod my head. So I hope we can keep doing that for a few more years.
Yeah, that's cool. I want to backtrack a little bit because you were talking about getting the head nod in earlier when you're in Vegas and how important that setup is. Does it change anything for Whiskers? When I mean, is there any kind of adjustment for that process of him knowing like, hey, we got to go earlier than what we're used to? How do you adjust to that?
Um, he takes to it pretty good. Some horses you really got to drill it into them to take a fast start. I can be a little notorious for taking too fast a start all year, even when I'm not supposed to. So thankfully, Whiskers and I, our natural unconscious start is to go really fast. So it doesn't take us too long to get back in the rhythm. It's just a matter of doing it more consistently. So he takes to it pretty well. He's been there before. He knows the game, and it's just a matter of going and doing it.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you because everywhere you're from Carrington originally, but you live in Texas now full time, right? So, but everywhere you go, the name tag says Carrington, North Dakota. So, I mean, how much pride do you take in that? Being a guy from the Dakotas, and not a ton of guys from North Dakota that get this opportunity. How much pride do you take in that, and how happy are you to represent the state in that way?
Yeah, absolutely. I take a lot of pride in being from North Dakota. There's a lot of great cowboys that have came out of North Dakota, and I hope that I can be considered part of the North Dakota crew. That I'll always be from Carrington, North Dakota. It's where I grew up, and that's where my hometown will stay. We moved south just because the winters are considerably nicer. It's a lot easier to go rodeoing, just back and forth from the house and get to practice all year. But I'll definitely have my hometown. All my family's up there. Definitely have my hometown always be Carrington, North Dakota.
Okay, so just a couple more things for you. First, or last thing here, what do the next couple of days look like for you? Because it's going to be a couple of days before you actually compete. So, how much of that is finding a place to practice in Vegas? Are you practicing in the arena in Vegas? What does that kind of all look like?
So practice is pretty well over now. We're gonna get there today, get everything put up, kind of get the stalls situated, get checked into the hotel, get the rental car, all the things. And then tomorrow we'll go and we throw the steers down one last time, and we vote on pins, and then we have the back number night tomorrow night, where we all get dressed up and they have the presentation. They give us our back numbers for the week, and then it's a pretty big ceremony for us. It's one of those ceremonies you look forward to your entire life. And then on Wednesday we do grand entry practice and pictures, like headshots and event pictures. And then yeah, we just kind of hang out and get ready to go to battle for the rest of the week.
Does it feel like a lot of waiting between now and the end of the week once you actually get to go?
Not entirely. You're kind of running around. That's one thing about Vegas. Between you end up doing some autograph signings and some of the other things that they make you do to try to just prepare for it. That you kind of once I pull into Vegas, I'm gonna feel like I'm running right up until I leave on the 14th.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, last couple of things for you. Everybody that comes on the show, we do rapid fire questions before they get out of here. So this is how we end the interview. So just kind of first thing that comes to mind for you. But whenever you come back to North Dakota, what's like the essential thing that you have to do? Whether it's going to do something or someplace you eat or going to see somebody, what's like the number one on your priority list?
The one I'm looking for the most is to find some Nefla soup. Like I've made some Nefla down south for everybody, and they love it. But when I get to go home and have some authentic Nefla soup, I'm a big fan.
That's awesome. Biggest difference between Texas and North Dakota? I have a feeling what you might say.
Well, that's for sure the winter. Yeah, the amount of snowfall is considerably different. Um, but no, they're both awesome places. Texas is a great place to call home for now. Who knows where I'll end up long term? I'm probably going to end up in Texas for the winter and up north during the summer because I'm not willing to put up with Texas summers either. So
Yeah,
thankfully we leave and go rodeoing. But yeah, North Dakota, the people are awesome, and that's home for sure.
absolutely. Favorite NFR memory?
Um, Probably that first go around win was pretty fun. Um, which I don't know why. It must be me, but the 3 times I've made the NFR, we've had scary things to where we weren't sure if we were even going to have an NFR between COVID, um, the shooting in 2023, and now the equine EHV virus going around that put a scare on everything. So just getting to compete is always seems like a miracle. Um, but yeah, that first go around win when we got to go to the Texas Live and my parents and family were all with me, that was pretty special.
Yeah. Last one, obviously we've hit December on the calendar, so I know this means your season is winding down. What's your Christmas tradition? You have a Christmas tradition or a holiday tradition that you get into once NFR is over and behind you?
Not entirely. I might be my parents moved to Deadwood, so I might head up to Deadwood and we'll uh we'll go over to eastern North Dakota and have Christmas, have a couple Christmases, and then come home. And I guess one tradition we have, we're a beef family for Christmas. We don't do turkey or ham or anything. We do a prime rib or rib eyes, and we definitely cook up some beef, and that's probably as traditional as we get.
Nice. I like it. I like it, man. I know the place to come if I'm looking for beef then. Well, we appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.
Safe travels. I know you got a long road still ahead of you, so safe travels and best wishes across the next week or two.
Okay, well, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely, man. All right, well, that was Bridger Anderson, Carrington, North Dakota native that's getting another shot at the NFR. And that's not something that is, it's not something where every day you're getting guys to the NFR, especially from North Dakota. Obviously, there's guys that stand out there, but that have been there multiple times. But it's not like every year we're getting 15 guys from our area that are going there. So it's really cool to see that. And I mentioned it to him, but whenever you watch videos of him, it says Carrington, North Dakota. Anytime you see an association with his name on the NFR website, it says Carrington, North Dakota. And I just think that's cool that, Bridger carries that with him, regardless of the fact that he's lived in Texas for a few years now and that kind of thing. 27 years old, and he's, just coming off the best season of his career. He had 5 wins this year, and he's made the most money that he's made in his career this past year. So excited to see how things play out for him at the NFR this week in Vegas. Obviously, the biggest week of the year for those guys. And it's also something cool and different to talk about, which I really enjoy. I really enjoy being able to talk to different people in different spaces. I'm not going to act like I'm a huge rodeo guy and I know tons about it, but I know how much it means to those guys and how much it means to a lot of people in our communities. And so I think it's pretty cool just to see him going on that big stage again, third time in 6 years, after the last time he made it was 2 years ago. So really cool to see that. But we're going to kind of turn the page now. Coming up around 2:30, about the half hour, we're going to have Perry Hanson come on and join us, the hoopster editor extraordinaire, high school basketball extraordinaire. He is Mr. Everything when it comes to basketball in this state. So we had him on last year when Jay and I were talking postseason basketball, just ahead of the postseason starting. We did that span of 3 weeks in a row. 3 weeks? Yeah, 3 weeks in a row where we talked about high school basketball on KFYR Plus. That was before the Dakota Drive even existed. So I'm excited to have Perry come on and talk to us just a little bit about what he's thinking about the high school basketball season and what it looks like big output-wise and in terms of teams that he's got circled on his preseason standings. I know that the AA preseason media polls from the NDA PSSA, those will come out today here in about 2 hours around 4 o'clock. So that'll be cool to see those come out for the first time this year and kind of see at the beginning of the season who's where in those standings. So excited to talk to Perry about basketball here in about 10 minutes or so. But before we get to that, I just wanted to talk about a little bit of football. Obviously, it was a huge week for football in our state, for college football in our state. Excuse me. it was a huge week for college football in our state. UND getting a win in the first round of the playoffs. I mean, they looked really good. 31-6 over Tennessee Tech on the road. And that's in a game where Jerry Kaminsky got hurt, and you had Simon Rumfo come in and play quarterback for you, which obviously Simon has tons of experience, and they trust him. There's no doubt about that. But the defense was phenomenal in that game. Multiple strip sacks. I think it ended up being 4 fumble recoveries and 2 interceptions. So just a phenomenal day for the defense. If you're Eric Schmidt and that's the kind of defensive performance you're getting, you're going to be grinning ear to ear. I'm going to pull up the bracket here as we talk about this so we can take a look at it. We're going to start with the bottom half of the bracket where UND is at. They got that 31-6 win over Charleston State, or over Tennessee Tech. So now they'll go on to play number 4 Charleston State this upcoming weekend. That'll be a noon Central kick, and then the winner of that one moves on to play either Lehigh or Villanova on the other side of the bracket. Villanova obviously handled business against Harvard. Then on the other side, it was the Dakota schools taking care of business in the first round, South Dakota and South Dakota State. South Dakota State against Montana this weekend. That's going to be a good one. South Dakota against Mercer. That'll be a good one too. Mercer getting the bye into the second rounds. But UND still kind of uncertain about what the quarterback situation is going to look like. It seems like there's still question marks in terms of who they're going to have behind center. And a little bit of that could be the cat and mouse game. A little bit of that could be the we're trying to make you plan for multiple quarterbacks, that kind of thing. But we'll see. We'll see if Kaminsky is good to go and gets back under center this week. Again, UND will be playing at Tarleton State, so back-to-back road games for them starting off the playoffs. On the top side of the bracket, North Dakota State's going to get a chance to take on Illinois State once again. They defeated Illinois State in the regular season. Illinois State went on the road and beat Southeastern Louisiana by 18 points. Kind of handled business down there, and now it's going to be a rematch for NDSU against Illinois State. Then on the other side, they'll face the winner of UC Davis and Rhode Island. The winner of NDSU and Illinois State will. So that'll be a 12 noon kick Central Time at the Fargo Dome on Saturday. Tim Polasek already calling for the crowd to show up in droves on Saturday and fill that place out. It's going to be interesting to see what the attendance numbers look like for the Bison against a team that they've already beat pretty handily in the regular season. But obviously that was way earlier in the season, about 2 months removed from that game. So as everybody would say, a different team at this point, right? Probably the game of the week was Yale and Youngstown State. Arguably one of the better players in the playoffs. Youngstown State's quarterback. Youngstown State now out of the picture, so that makes things interesting as the Ivy League gets a team through to the second round. Yale take on Montana State. Then it's Stephen F. Austin against Abilene Christian on the bottom side. Abilene beating Lamar by 18 this weekend. So that's what the FCS playoff bracket looks like. Just a few weeks away, couple of weeks away from the semifinals, and then that national championship on January 5th. So things taking shape certainly in the FCS playoffs. And with that, we've got postseason awards coming out. Tim Polasek winning Missouri Valley Conference Coach of the Year. Well-deserved, obviously, in another undefeated season for the Bison, the first one since 2019, undefeated regular season. So pretty cool to see Tim Polasek win that award, especially with all that he's kind of put into this program and that kind of thing. And NDSU got a school record, 17 players on the All-Missouri Valley team. Now, that includes first team, second team, honorable mentions. So it's not like those are just first team guys necessarily, but it's cool to see NDSU get that much recognition, and I think it shows just how well-rounded this group is as well, just by how many guys that they got on those rosters, down to the long snapper and the place kicker. I mean, that's the kind of guys that we're talking about getting named as first-teamers. So, excuse me, it's pretty cool to see that. One of those was Jackson Dutenheffer. He was an honorable mention. for the Bison. Obviously, Jackson missed a couple of games there in the middle of the season with that neck injury. The man certainly making an impact for the Bison this year, though, and cool to see him get that recognition on the honorable mention team as well. For UND, 11 players on the Missouri Valley team for them. I was going to pull this back up because I only had a chance to glance at it very briefly. Yeah, so they had 4 first team picks. Seth Anderson, Antonio Blewett, Malachi McNeil, and Lance Rucker were the guys that they had on the first team. Lance Rucker, man, I mean, he was phenomenal on Saturday. He forced multiple sacks, got multiple recoveries. He was a wrecking ball, kind of a one-man wrecking ball almost there in the backfield. Just incredible play from him, and UND obviously going into the second round. But if they could get that kind of play out of Lance Rucker and anyone on their defense going into the second round, that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I was just going to pull this up one more time so we can look at it. Tarleton State, that 4 seed. So you look at it, UND was a team that people questioned if they would even get in. And now they're going up against the 4 seed in the second round after knocking off the 13 seed. I did think it was kind of funny. North Dakota's social media team putting something out, kind of trolling Tennessee Tech a little bit there after the game, after that win on Saturday, saying something about the 13 seed that they got. UND obviously putting on a great performance for the Missouri Valley Conference. So we'll see. We'll see how things go as they head to Texas. Obviously, you talk about the turnaround and having to play on the road again and all those kind of things. It'll definitely make things interesting for UND, but I'm excited to watch that matchup on Saturday. I think the bad thing about this is let's see. Well, most of the games kick at either 11 or 12 Central Time. So 2 games kick at 11 Central, 2 games kick at 12 Central, 3 games kick at 1 Central, and then the UC Davis Rhode Island game kicks at 9 o'clock. So I hate it for FCS football fans because you don't get a chance to watch all the games together. And obviously ESPN Plus isn't YouTube TV. You can't do a quad box and all those kind of things. I think the good thing for NDSU is you get a chance to, if NDSU wins against Illinois State, you get a chance to get a home game. If you're Tim Polasek, you're hoping you get a win against Illinois State, a team that you've already beat by 3 or 4 scores in the regular season, and then you recruit a little bit, and then you sit in the office and kick up your feet and watch UC Davis and Rhode Island play at 9 o'clock, a 9 o'clock start time. So, you'll have a little bit of extra time on your hands as compared to UC Davis and Rhode Island, whoever gets through in that game, which has to be nice, all things considered, even if it's just a few hours, because you get a jump on game planning and those kind of things. And certainly I'm sure there's people in NDSU's building that are already working on game planning as we speak, but you get a chance to watch that game and relax a little bit. And that's a few extra hours of recovery for players too. And I'm sure Tim Polasek would say that is a huge deal from his standpoint and his players' standpoint as well. So we're going to work on getting Perry Hanson here in the next couple of minutes. Couple other things that I was trying to think that a couple other things that I wanted to talk about, and this just popped up, but UMary's Dina Polanco, she scored 9 goals, I believe, this season, and she's going to play for the Guatemalan national team at the CONCACAF Women's World Cup qualifier. So they play in a qualifier tonight against Bermuda. That's pretty cool. I mean, she came on the scene and was arguably one of the best players that UMary women's soccer had this season, and now she's getting a chance to go play on a national stage and represent her country. That's an incredible thing to see her get that opportunity, and I think it's a good thing for the University of Mary as well, right? If you're recruiting or what have you. If you're Sarah Cook and trying to get the next best player into your program, it's like, hey, we may not have been solely responsible for this. Obviously, Dina put in a lot of work herself, but it is pretty cool to say, hey, you can come play at the University of Mary in the fall and then get a chance to go play for your national team and then, come back and play spring soccer with us. But cool opportunity there for Dina Polanco. As we switch gears and start talking about the winter sports season, it's going to come out as quick. The AA basketball season will tip off here next week, but Class A and Class B already getting started. So I just wanted to take a look at the Class B girls basketball poll. Benson County ranked first, Berthold ranked second, Maple River third, Lemoore Litchfield Marion fourth, and there's a tie at fifth. Grant County Mott Regent and Kenmare Bowbells, and then Tioga and Langdon Munich both getting points, receiving votes in the polls. Benson County obviously going to be a force to be reckoned with this year once again. They went on that incredible run last year. Then in Class A, it's South Prairie Max and then Valley City, Thompson, Devils Lake, and Kindred, 1 through 5. And then other teams receiving votes: Turtle Mountain, Central Cass, Carrington, which we just talked a lot about with Bridger Anderson a lot, and Shiloh Christian. It's funny because I voted on this Class A girls poll, and I was kind of flipping a coin between South Prairie Max and Valley City, and the same day, Valley City beat South Prairie Max in volleyball, and I was like, okay, well, let's hope that we get that same rematch in basketball, because I think it was an electric matchup on the volleyball court. So I think it'd be a lot of fun to see those two teams play against one another in the Class A girls state tournament or at some point during the season. I'm not sure if they play during the regular season or not, but the AA polls will come out this afternoon in just about an hour and a half. We mentioned that. I have a pretty strong feeling that we know who the number one boys team in the state will be, but obviously, you never know how people vote. But Century returns pretty much all of its starters. I think they return all but one starter coming back into this season, and that's Drew Kemple, who's now at Minot State University. So they're going to have a strong argument as the number one team in the state in Class AA. But we'll have to wait and see here in the next couple of hours what that looks like. In the meantime, we're going to work on getting Perry Hanson in here. Let's see. Can you hear me, Perry?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. How's it going, man? Long time no see, I guess I should say. I haven't seen you in a while, but this is your favorite time of the year, right? So how excited are you that basketball is finally getting tipped off?
First of all, congratulations to all those football and volleyball teams who won their respective divisions this past couple of weekends, and all of a sudden the snow comes around and practices start, and here we go. We got games already starting tonight in girls basketball.
Right. Hard to believe, man. Well, let's talk a little bit about, let's start off talking about the Hoopster a little bit, because this weekend I was at the mall. I can't even remember what the bookstore is called, Barnes & Noble or what the bookstore that we have. I was in there. We're looking at kids' books, and I turned around, and there was a Hoopster right there in my face. And so it had me thinking about you. But, I mean, those have been out on the shelves now for a week, couple of weeks now. But I don't think people realize how much time goes into that. And I know that you and I have talked about it a little bit. But to give people a little bit of perspective, when do you start on those, getting the Hoopster ready for the next season?
So usually by April 1, I'll send out the questionnaire to the coaches so that it's kind of fresh on their mind. And then we start selling the ads to help support each individual community right around the 1st of May. And then we just basically run all the way through the end of August trying to get, the coaches to respond, get us pictures, get us information, all-time stats, all of that stuff. And then right around the end of August, it takes for me, it takes about a month to proof both books. I got to go through each page and obviously I'll still make an error, and I apologize for those. But and then by the end of September, it takes a month to print, and then we get the copies out, and then that's when I release a digital copy now, which I currently have, which is in full color, which is something new this year. So it's about a 6-7 month process for me to get it all done, and then all winter long I Zoom a lot of games or live stream games, or I'm at games. So I'm looking forward to kind of maybe even tonight getting started on that. There's a good matchup in the girls Class A division tonight. So
Yeah. Um, well, as the season begins to start, I know that you always have your kind of predictions. How close were you last year on predictions, just kind of from an overall standpoint? Did you do okay last year, or was it a down year for you?
no, I not so good at all. I probably overall hit about 60%. I had a tough time in one of the divisions between the A and the B. I think I had 3 out of 8 right. So, but all the teams that I've picked usually were knocking on the door. They just didn't get the job finished for me to make me look smart. But it just goes to show how hard that it is to predict that back in, say, I make those predictions by the end of September. It's based on coaches' information and so on and so forth. But
Right.
a lot of times I'll take a lot of heat for during the season. Well, you don't even have that team in your top 10. Well, let's wait and see how it ends up at the end of the year. But we keep track of that on my Twitter or X page and my Facebook page. We post the weekly, the media driven polls, and then to the left of that, I post my predictions.
Yeah.
So every once in a while, you can see there's a number 29 there, and they're in the top 10 in the Class B at the current time. So it's kind of fun to look at.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoy looking back at yours as we're making our first couple and seeing kind of where you have teams and how they stack up. And we were just talking about the double A polls are going to come out this afternoon, so we'll kind of see where things shape up. But let's start talking about Class A. I mean, you mentioned obviously things are going to get started for them, and I was just talking about the Class A girls a little bit. I put in my polls the same day that South Prairie and Valley City played in volleyball against one another, and Valley City won. And here I was questioning my choice if they have a lot of athletes on that team, but South Prairie Max is really loaded too. So just kind of overall looking at Division A girls, what are kind of your couple of teams that you kind of are looking at the most in that classification?
Well, you named two of them. I have those in as my 1 and 2 as well. Valley City won it a year ago, had most of their players back this year. South Prairie's had the same core of girls now for about 3-4 years, and they've just had some very unfortunate luck at the state tournament. And this is another year where they've got two, probably, from what I hear, two girls that are getting recruited very highly and been playing since 7th and 8th grade. So they're undergoing a coaching change again this year. So I'm sure that'll take a little bit of time, but they're starting out tonight against the Carrington team that was pretty good a year ago. And then tomorrow night, South Prairie's playing Kenmare in the Class B girls, so they cross over and play each other.
Right.
So that's actually a good matchup. Those are two top 5 teams. But Devils Lake and Thompson and Kindred are also going to be good. And Belcourt had a nice team a year ago. But I
think we lost you there for a second. We'll see if we can get Perry a second. Just up. There we go.
Yeah, now I'm back.
That's all right.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, you mentioned the crossover games. I mean, how much can you take away from those crossover games in your mind, playing A and B against each other? Because that's something that maybe we didn't used to see as much of, but now with the 3 classes, we're maybe seeing a little bit more of. I mean, how much do you feel like you can learn about some of those teams, whether it's, Division B playing against good Division A teams or vice versa?
I think what you see is the top teams in each division are just remember, it wasn't that long ago, 3-4 years ago, they played each other on a consistent basis, and so I think when you get in that top 5 in each class, those are very valuable crossover games. They have pretty free scheduling, so a lot of non-conference games, and so if you can go and play a team that's in the top 5 in another division, even if it's just A or B, um, I think that's a good lesson for those kids early in the season. You won't see the double A play the single A or the B very often unless it's some kind of a tournament format. But for
Right.
those bottom two, I think it's great. I think it's great.
Yeah. Um, let's talk about Class B a little bit on the girls' side. I mean, just looking back at the first media poll, Benson County got all of the first place votes. I mean, is this a situation where you feel like it's Benson County's to lose, or are there some teams that you feel like can be serious competitors to them this season? I mean, obviously they went on such a good run last year, but do you think that's just kind of everybody thinking the same thing's going to happen again this year by giving them the first place votes? All right, we're going to see if we can give Perry a second to reset here. Benson County, the number 1 team in the state in Class B girls. Oh, there we go. All right,
I'm back. I got you there. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on.
You're good.
Yeah, Benson County is getting back to where you were. Boy, they got everybody back. But the games there were pretty close. I still looked for Kenmere to still be a pretty solid team again. But it's probably Benson County until somebody can knock them off. They open up tonight, I think, against Griggs County, so they're going to be right there. But there's probably a handful of teams in that 2 through 8 range that you guys had in your media. Your media poll and mine were basically the same teams, just maybe in a little bit different order. But the top 10 were pretty much the same. So
yeah.
But I look for Benson County until someone can show that they could beat them. That's probably where I'd lean.
Right. I haven't personally dug much into the A and B boys polls just because we haven't voted on them yet. But I guess in Class A boys, what have been your early thoughts on who's going to be the front runner there? I know last year it was a super competitive tournament. What do you expect it to be? The same 2 teams up there at the top?
I expect Beulah to be really good this year out here for the western half of the state. I got them at 2, and I got Kindred at 1. And I think I had Devils Lake 3 because they still have those, and especially now coming off the football run that they had. A lot of their skill kids, those 2 Palmer twins, are going to be back. And I don't know, anytime you have 2 good guards that can control games, you're going to be right there. Kindred still has quite a few athletes left. Now, I haven't heard officially, but Starkovic, from what I hear, had a nasty injury in the football season at the end. He may not be able to play basketball, which takes away that big kid presence that they had, but they're still going to be pretty skilled.
Right.
There's a couple teams that may surprise out west here. I think Belcourt has a chance to surprise a little bit. Botno boys, who ended up playing in the Division 11 man single A, I think it was. They got some decent kids too. But otherwise, the East seems to have fairly decent teams again.
Yeah, and I mean, I haven't heard anything recently about Starkovic, but that's kind of the number one thing that, looking at the difference between Beulah and Kindred, a year ago, was Beulah didn't really have any big kids that could have played against Kindred, or it didn't seem like it. Their best players were their guards. So if you take that out of the picture, I think it makes things a lot more interesting. But Beulah's got some. I mean, the past couple of years they've had a lot of young kids, and now it kind of seems like this is the time frame they've been waiting on, is for these guys to be juniors and seniors.
Yeah, absolutely. They got a couple Sherrado boys having to be coaches, kids out there that are pretty strong. They've been playing varsity basketball now. The one's a senior, and the other one, I believe, is sophomore, junior, off the top of my head. But yeah, they're going to be very strong. They got a Larson kid back that's playing. Used to be at Stanley, and I believe he played a little last year. But they give him another year of playing with those two other kids. They should be formidable. And
Yeah,
again, I got to match up with that size out east.
right. You mentioned Turtle Mountain on the boys and the girls side. I mean, Turtle Mountain's obviously kind of been, I feel like they're one of those teams that's kind of benefiting a lot from this three class system. I guess, how have you kind of seen that play out, and how much better does it make it, because their community is so vibrant around basketball? I mean, how much better does that make it when their program is thriving like that?
I've got some friends that actually live there. They've been around the program for a long, long time, and like they said, it's finally a division where they feel like they've got some hope each year. When they had to play in the WDA each year, it was, even when they had a good team, it was still very, very hard for them to get through the WDA tourney and qualify for state. Whereas now, the girls made it, finally got over the hump and made it a year ago, and they've got a lot of girls back. So I expect them to make a run again, along with rugby girls up there. And then on the boys' side, you know, they they won quite a few games towards the end of the season and gained a lot of confidence and got all the way to the regional championship game. Lost in that one, then lost in the play-in to get into the state tournament. But speaking to their coaches this summer, he's really excited. He said they had a really good summer and the kids really gained a lot of confidence. And I think, Luke, what you see is, like I said, is they just feel like they've got a legit chance rather than having to play WDA teams 3 nights in a row. And I
Yeah.
think that was always hard for them.
Yeah, for sure. And it will be interesting, not necessarily just this year, or, even just big picture, looking at it down the road, how that will impact, the Watford cities the same way, and that kind of thing. Just thinking about them. I think they open the season against Shiloh. The girls do, I believe. Or it's one of their early games down here next week. So I think it'll be interesting just to see, as we continue to get deeper into the three class system, how that kind of plays out for those teams. But in B boys, who do you have kind of circled at the top of the Division B boys?
Well, our one was the same as yours, so I just feel like the B boys is really wide open this year. It wasn't. It's probably the hardest one to take a top five out of there. I don't know. And how did you guys have your top five again? I'm trying to remember how your top five was compared to mine. You don't have
I
it
don't.
in front of you,
I don't. I had the girls one pulled up, but I couldn't find the boys one when I was looking earlier.
Yeah, if you hang on a second here, I've got something here for you. When I switched spots to get you better reception, I lost my books. Yeah, I did a top 20, and I have our Redeemers from Minot, and I think it's because of the number of kids they've got back, and they're one of the teams that a lot of people say, well, they should be in the middle class because they rep,
Right.
Minot. But they've got a lot of kids back. They were in the state tournament a year ago, and a team just to the north here, Central McLean, has a lot of kids back, and they've got a Hanson kid that's just Aiden Hanson's is the kid's name, and he's getting recruited pretty high, 6'4" kid was their starting quarterback. And so I look for them to be good. And then a team way up in the northeast corner called North Border, which is a combination of Walhalla, Pembina, and Nitchie. They've got a bunch of kids back, but boy, it's just close all the way through. Hankinson was there. I looked for Ray to make a run. They were really young a year ago, got to the regional, played a senior heavy team. But this year with that year of experience, I look for that. But it is going to be wide open. New Rockford Cheyenne, as you know, has athletes, and so they're in my top 10 as well. Wilton Wing should still be pretty formidable. They got a few kids back, so a lot of the teams that were in the state tournament a year ago are going to be decent. You'll see definitely a fall off from West Hope and Minot Ryan just because of the number of seniors both those teams have, but they're still going to be you're still going to have to play well to beat them.
Yeah, and
But
obviously there's and I mean, it's like this all the time, but obviously there's a lot of carryover from the teams that we saw that were good in football that, have a lot of the athletes playing the same. You mentioned Central McLean. I mean, they had a really good run in football, and Aiden Hanson was a big part of that. And, they'll definitely be in the thick of it. I think, that was another team that I think is, probably going to be in the top 5 or so. But you mentioned Ray and last year I remember seeing them play in Mandan, and I was like, wow, like this, this team looks pretty good just from athleticism standpoint. And I saw last night or this morning that Ty Barman, the 6'4" kid, got a football offer from Minnesota this weekend. So
ninth grader, and he's
yeah, I had to click on it and read it again. When I saw 2029, I was like, wow, okay. So I mean, that tells you what kind of athleticism they have. So I think that's an interesting kind of team because it's somebody, a team that's way out there that a lot of people, especially probably towards the east side of the state or past Bismarck, don't think about, or even past Minot or whatever. So I think Ray's an interesting team to watch. But our Redeemers are they? I don't know. After last year, I'm interested to see how they put things back together, if they can get back to that same point that they were at last year.
And their district will be still very tough with Minot Ryan still being reasonably well. Mulhall has a bunch of kids back. And West Hope's not, they have 3-4 kids that have played a lot in state tournaments. So their district play prepares them for tournament play. And they were probably within a steal away. They got the ball taken away from them from getting to the state final a year ago. So they were playing Minot Ryan, a team from their own district, in that semifinal. And I happened to be there, and I'm like, oh, they were right there. Just one steal away, protect the ball one more time. But I'm sure that's been eaten at those kids all year long, and they're all back. And so look for the Weekly boys to have a pretty good season for them.
Yeah, it's crazy how competitive that district and region is. But let's talk about AA a little bit with the last few minutes that we've got. On the girls' side, I mean, there's so many individual girls that are good across our state right now that are, getting Division I offers and that kind of thing. But I think, in my opinion, I mean, it's hard to argue against Minot when they've got 2 Division I players on their roster. I don't know what your thoughts are, though, on the girls' side with AA.
I'm exactly the same place you are with that. I've been picking them for about 3-4 years. They just have had tough luck with injuries. I do expect them to be really good. Horace is still going to be really good on the girls' side. Century's got a chance to be really good again. They've got some young girls coming up that are going to be freshmen this current year that are going to make a pretty good splash, and those girls have already been receiving offers throughout the AAU circuit. So I would expect Minot and Century out here out west, and then out east, Horace will be one of the still, because they still have all the guards back. Yeah, they lost the Hale girl, but for the most part, probably those 3 teams. And Davies will still be reasonable, but those are the ones that I kind of look forward to. And then after you get through those first couple on each side, it's pretty wide open.
Yeah,
pretty wide
I think
open. See who
Century will be interesting just because you mentioned the freshmen, but no one around here has really seen them play. At the WDA level, local people probably haven't seen them play much. So I think it'll be interesting to see them play against WDA competition and that kind of thing. And you mentioned Horace. I mean, they have the guard, the Donnelly girl that was so good last year in the state tournament. And then Shanley, even they had a really good guard that was 7th or 8th grade, something like that.
With Shanley, it was also in the top 2 or 3 out east, and they're young, so I didn't quite know how far to raise their level up. But I would expect them to be a sleeper team as well out
Yeah.
east. You can see some quality individual play. That's the one thing I've noticed in the last 5 to 7 years. I think obviously the AAU circuit has something to do with that, but
Yeah.
the quality of athlete is gotten a lot better here in North Dakota.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the boys' side, kind of seems like everybody's going to be picking Century from what I've picked up. I mean, they returned most of their starting lineup. I mean, is that kind of how you see it going into the season?
Yep, and I think Bismarck High is also going to be a very good basketball team. They're going to put a lot of points on the board. And they get a kid by the name of Weston Scott back that basically didn't get to play last year, but as a freshman, he was almost if not an all conference player as a freshman. He was all state here in football, so you know what kind of athlete he's tied. So those two teams out west, Minot's under new coaching up there, and they lost a lot of seniors, so that might take a little while. Mandan's got good players. Legacy's got good. WDA has always been. Dickinson should be really strong this year. They got everybody back as well, and so that WDA is going to be wild. But yes, everybody has picked Century, and you should. They've got everybody back from a state championship team that maybe lost one game last year, and then out east, West Fargo Horse is a team that teams people are going to take notice to right away. They got an Evanson kid that's already committed to UND, and they've got a couple other athletes that are getting some scholarship offers as well in basketball. So those are the top probably three going into the season. So
Yeah, it seems like
I'd try to
Go
get
ahead.
the Bismarck High School games early this year because I think those are going to be really fun to watch.
Probably going to have a hard time finding a place to park at those games.
Yeah, absolutely. Two very good teams going at it, and a couple of contrasting styles a little bit, so it'll be kind of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the WDA kind of seems like it. It's always the top two, and then who are you flipping a coin for the next two? And even late in the season, it may shift depending on injuries and that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm excited to see what Bismarck High has as well, just because you mentioned Weston, and they have a couple of guys that are getting offers and things like that as juniors and seniors that seem like they have some good potential. So I'm excited to see what they do this year. But
they've got 3 kids already get pretty good offers already for basketball. So a Carlo kid that might take some people by surprise, and a younger Austin kid that played a lot as a freshman a year ago. So along with Weston, and you got a couple other kids too that might surprise some people. So yeah, they're just gonna, how they play, their style. So it's gonna be interesting to watch. They're gonna put a lot of points on the board.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us, Perry. I appreciate you taking some time out of your day, and we'll see you on near a basketball court sometime soon.
Sure, and I appreciate KFYR for all you guys do and all you've done for me this year. We kind of had a nice agreement with each other, so and I appreciate all the work you do, Luke.
Yeah,
it's kind of nice to have somebody like you around. So
I appreciate it, Perry. Thanks so much, man. Have a good one.
You too. Take care.
All right, that's Perry Hanson, the editor-in-chief, writer, everything, do-it-all extraordinaire, salesman for the Hoopster. And he mentioned our partnership with them. We've got a sponsorship with them, so you'll see KFYR and the Hoopster as well. That's one of my biggest assets during basketball season, is relying on that, so I encourage you to check it out because there's just so much information about all of the teams in our state, and it's incredible how much work goes into it, and then the product that's put out on the other side by Perry at the same time. It's super cool to see. But we appreciate you joining us today on the Dakota Drive. It was a fun episode. It was really cool getting to talk to Bridger Anderson literally on the way to the NFR. We'll be excited to share more of that later tonight. And here we go. We hit the ground running. Hockey season's underway. Here comes basketball and everything else following behind it. We appreciate you being with us. We'll see you right here again next Monday. Same time, same place, 2 to 3 p.m. Central, right here on the Dakota Drive. Enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy the rest of your week.